Welcome to Apartment Syndication Made Easy podcast, where we simplify the world of syndication. Join us as we unravel the complexities and provide you with valuable insights to help you invest smartly. Get ready to take your investments to the next level, one episode at a time. Here's your host, Mr. Vinney Smiles Chopra.
Hi there, guys. This is Winnie Chopra again, and I want to thank you, each one of you, for liking the content on my 2 live shows, which go into 14 social channels on Thursday, Abundance Mindset with Winnie Chopra, and also Winnie and Bo show on Friday at 9 a.m. Both are at 9 a.m. Pacific. Then my podcast, Syndication Made Easy, the book I wrote, and my positivity books. You all have been looking at Amazon and digital copies. My 3rd book is coming out very soon on senior living investing made easy, which is my new passion in life, to build all these beautiful commercial buildings all across USA for senior housing. We got a great guest. Kelly Shaw is in the house, and I'm so tickled to really talk about Kelly. And, he reached out and our team met. Kelly has a passion for sales and salespeople. I am in the core a salesperson. I'll be sharing some ideas along with Kelly. He himself has been in sales for over 40 years and still has a thriving sales practice today. He's also been in sales management, sales training, has been his true passion for life. And Kelly has traveled internationally all over the world, thousands of students on sales, business developments, and how to live a designed life. We're going to talk about that. Also, not only educating them, but also helping him to discover and realize their full passion and potential. Because I really believe every business should have the best salesperson, marketing department, and if all CEOs are great salespeople, and that's the key. So we're going to talk about all those practices. And also there is a great book. I'll talk to Kelly about retirement for the final frontier. So thank you so much, Kelly. It's such a pleasure to meet you, brother. How are you? How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, Vinny. And I'm telling you, it's my pleasure to meet you and to be able to talk to you and your audience today. I couldn't be more thrilled. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you. Like we were reminiscing and talking. I came from India, 46 years back with $7 in my pocket. And I came for my master's degree, actually. My uncle sponsored me, but we did not know who's going to pay for my tuition. He sponsored, and he tells me later on he paid for my first semester, but we didn't know where the second semester tuition is going to come out from. And lo and behold, one good friend of mine, Y.K. Agarwal, I still remember his name, from George Washington University. He says, Vinny, what are you doing for summer? I had thick accent. Nobody could understand me. I said, I don't know. He says, well, I sold door to door. Do you want to come along with me? I said, okay, literally. Kelly, that's how I cut my teeth in sales, sir. I became from a mechanical engineer to a peddler, you could say, or whatever, knocking on doors, 80 hours, not 40, but 80 hours a week. I was walking door to door outside Atlanta, Georgia, and selling encyclopedias and cookbooks and Bible books. Being a Hindu, I sold Bibles.
So you come from an engineering background, which is typically not something a lot of salespeople, number one, would come from. Clearly, if you're from India, you're more than likely Hindu, and therefore selling Bibles, a little on the different side. And of course, you pick the absolute best time of year to sell door to door in Atlanta. That would be the summer when it's hot and this thing is called humid.
Yes.
So you probably lost a lot of weight, Brad. I'm telling you, it must have been a challenge.
I was thin. I've gained weight since then, but I was very thin, sir. And the other part is, you know what? I didn't have a car. I didn't have a bicycle or nothing. So these people, this particular company will drop you at 7:30 in the neighborhood, come back at 9:30 to pick you up. you have to go around all over the place knocking on doors. So tell me about yourself. Like, how did you get into sales? I know you've been very successful. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'm a little different in the fact that I was very shy and inhibited as a child. I was extremely short at the time. When I was in high school, I was 4'11". I wrestled 101, a whopping
Wow.
101.
Mhm.
But I ended up growing a little bit my end of my junior year through the summer and my senior year. And I ended up going in the Marine Corps to a whopping 5'8",
Mhm.
about a $128 or a $130, and I
Wow.
came out of there 5'11", maybe 165 or something like that. And I came out of there and went to work, went to college. It wasn't really a good time to go to college at that time because of the Vietnam War, but I wanted to be a poli-sci major, and I was just kind of disgusted with the whole thing. So I ended up working for my stepfather in construction and realized this ain't for me. But I loved it. I loved building things. I loved working with my hands. I was marginally good. So you wouldn't want me to, right now in today's day and age, a hand tool is a dangerous weapon in my hands. My wife does not let me do anything around the house. That's why we work smart, but we can hire people to do it right. But I wanted to get into sales, and I don't know why. Call it intuition, call it stupidity, call it God talking to me and me actually listening for a change. But I applied for a bunch of sales jobs. And one of the jobs I applied for, the gal actually called me back. And I went, oh, I might have a job here. And she told me, she goes, you're like one of the worst interviews I've ever had. I could never hire you. You didn't look me in the eye. You were nervous. You didn't shake my hand properly. You did. She told me everything I did wrong. She goes, but you followed up. It sounds like you're sincere. Look, if you want to get good at sales, here's a couple places to try to cut your, which was JCPenney shoe sales.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And she goes, and you also need to join the Dale Carnegie
Toastmasters and Dale Carnegie. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Speaking.
So I went through the Dale Carnegie courses. Number one,
Yes.
I don't remember. It's been a long time. If it was, you had to go in order. So it might have been I had to do the public speaking course first,
Yes.
and then the sales course. But I fell in love with public speaking because I was petrified. Petrified. I could not talk. I couldn't even talk to a person face to face, let alone a group of people. When I had to do that in high school, I would literally start crying. But through that, I got confidence, a lot of practice. I know through Toastmasters, you got to get up in front of people you know. And through that, I learned probably one of the most powerful skills anybody could ever have.
Hi, you are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Winnie Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9 Pacific with Winnie and Bo show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can, bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
Actually, the two most powerful skills. One, public speaking.
Yes.
Every great president, anybody who's ever affected history, is a great public speaker.
Totally.
That's the one thing they have. They could connect with a crowd and get them emotional, whether it's laughter, crying, excitement, whatever. Now, there's been some horrible human beings that were great speakers. We don't have to name a lot of them because they're despots, but they moved crowds through speaking. And then there are people like Gandhi, people like Martin Luther King,
yes, sir,
who through their words helped change the world.
Yeah, so true.
So number one, I learned how to speak in public to people, and then I learned sales. The number one thing you can do on a day-to-day basis that can actually not only affect your life, but everybody you come in contact with. And if you have a business, or if you're into a cause, or you have a product or service, and you want to change the world, you got to have somebody buy that product.
Yes.
And that's my approach to sales is make it simple, make it fun. You're serving first. So there's a lot of really good sales trainers out there today, Vinney, and they have really good content. I think they blow a lot of smoke up people's whatever, because they always badmouth all these old school trainers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are they referring to? The old school trainers always talked about one thing. You serve first.
Yeah.
And reap the rewards later.
Totally.
There were never any gimmicks, tactics, closing techniques. It was all about know your product, sell yourself, make the greatest sale to yourself. Because sales to me is two things. One, it's about communication. And number two, it's about a transference of energy, right?
Totally.
Like vibrations or whatever you want to call it in the world, the woo-woo people. If you have an excitement about something and you know that it's helping,
yes, I love that.
owe it to that person to transfer that energy over to them. But once you do that, you can't stop them from buying it. All you got to do is make it easy for you to help them buy it from you.
So true, so true, so true. What you just said, Kelly, is that, if the product is good, everything, I feel the same way. If I'm doing a disservice, if I don't sell that with total conviction and with enthusiasm, I've got to show the benefits and not sell anybody nothing. Like I raise money now, I'm a syndicator. People give me $100,000, $500 million, they give me their own hard-earned money for me to invest in real estate. That's what my business is. But you are right. If you just show them the passionate way and learn and do, the product has to be great, which you just mentioned, and pass on that enthusiasm that why it's good for them. They may buy, they may not. They may invest with me, they may not. But we need to leave them as a better person after our contact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. Number one, they're either thinking about the dollars they can possibly make, which, by the way, people can smell and feel that, right? They can feel the energy.
Yeah.
You're talking about going door to door.
Yes, sir.
That whole thing, right? Some of the best salespeople I've ever met learn how to sell by door to door, and they learn to give an awesome presentation. Because you got one shot. So I used to sell financial services. And it wasn't really door to door, but it really was. Like we would do some front end estate planning with some trusts and some other stuff. And my job was, even though I'd never met these people, to go into their home, look at their financial situation, talk about other areas in their life other than probate that could affect their assets, their life, whether it's Medicaid protection, going into a nursing home, losing all their money because of Alzheimer's, whatever. And I would go in the home and I would walk out with $500,000, $1 million in their lifetime savings to put into places that were safe, secure, and they were creditor proof, right? People go, how can you do that? I go, well, how could I not do that? It's the right thing to do. But I go, well, first off, I learned this from Tony Robbins many years ago. is I would drive up to the front of the home. I don't know what these people look like. All I've seen is their asset sheet, right? Which I know like in the back of my head.
Totally.
And I would get my karma, my chi together. I would get my energy flowing.
Yes.
I would get some deep breaths, and I would envision myself walking out of that house at the end of the talk 3 hours from now, shaking their hand and saying, congratulations, you made a great choice. I'm going to take care of you. And I look forward to working together for the next 24 years.
I love it.
So I've already set where I need to go. So I know my destination.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know to get there, there's certain things I got to do during my presentation. So the first thing I would do when I would get to the door is say, hey, Kelly, nice to meet you. And I would cross my legs and go, man, can I ask you for a big favor? Can I use your restroom? It's been a long drive.
Yeah.
And they always say, yes, it's down the hall. It was always down the hall. I don't know why. It's always down the hall. You know? And it was not their restroom. It was the guest restroom. But guess what was down the hall on the way to the restroom?
Pictures.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Of them, their kids, their family. And I would walk down the hall, look at those, go to the restroom, and come back.
Yeah.
And I would pay a lot more attention to what was going on. Why? I
Amazing.
want to know a little bit about them. I'm curious.
Yes.
I have a true curiosity about people.
Yeah.
So when I start asking questions, I'm not asking questions to make a sale. I'm asking questions to get to know the person as people, what they're all about, and find out kind of what their wants, needs, and desires are, so that if I've got a product that may work for them,
Yes.
I know how to present it for their benefit.
I love it, Callie. What you just said is so 1000% right. Everybody listening to us, guys, these are the gold nuggets which we all need to apply as we are dealing with families and investors and brokers and lenders, everybody, attorneys. I mean, all these professional people who are willing to invest money in our syndications, the business in real estate. Kelly, you've just given so many great nuggets, because that is the truth. People will trust you. They will have confidence in you. They would like you. Then they will give you. In our case, it was different. Like you were trying to sell the, life insurance or, product. In our case, they're giving us money to invest into bigger hotels, into bigger multi-families in my case, and senior assisted livings, which we buy like $40-50 million deals. But
Right.
the down payment comes from investors in our case.
Right.
So that's how, so no, this is so good. Let's just take it to the next level.
Okay.
Every CEO, everybody who is trying to sell a service, they have to have the right mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, I just wrote an ebook, which is kind of chapter 1 of my new book that's coming out later on this year called Frothing at the Mouth, which is about,
Yes.
and I might share that story here in a few minutes.
Please.
But you take a look at every CEO. Let's just talk about CEOs, whether you like them or not.
Yeah,
they're changing the world.
they are.
First off is Steve Jobs.
Look at that. Look where it has come. Oh my gosh.
Second off, look at Amazon, right?
Bezos, Jeff Bezos. Look at Tesla with
Look at
Elon Musk.
Like, Elon's got me thinking we're going to be on Mars pretty soon,
Yes.
right? I mean, I grew up during the space age when we were on a mission to get to the moon. I remember watching all those liftoffs on TV, glued, because I wanted to beat the Russians to the moon and to go to another planet. Like, I'm a big Jules Verne fan, so I remember all those old books about going to the moon, and I kind of live in that fantasy world. But you take a look at the one thing they all have in common. Well, besides the fact they're all really good speakers, but when they're on stage and they're talking to people, they can sell their vision.
That's right.
People in the audience can understand it. which is why they're multi-billionaires today.
Yes.
And their companies are actually changing the freaking world.
So true.
Because
So true.
they don't ever think, this is really important for entrepreneurs to understand. This is how I think. I don't ever look at what I can't do. It's like, okay, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do to make this happen? What are the, yes, it's almost impossible, but everything is impossible until somebody does it, then it's possible, right? They've all done impossible things because they didn't believe it was possible not to do it. They looked for ways to do it. And I think one of the biggest mindsets everybody has to have is you're never a loser. Every time something doesn't go our way, I read a great quote by Albert Einstein one time. And a reporter said to him something about him being the smartest man in the world. And he goes, I'm no smarter than anybody else. I just work the problem harder and longer until I solve it. That's it. And I think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as an investor, I mean, heck, and whatever. I mean, everything in life, it's about having a good game plan.
Yes.
Changing if you need it, but don't quit. Don't give up. How many of us have come so close to our dreams and then we give up at the last minute, right when we're ready to strike gold?
So true, so true. And the saying goes like, the success is around the corner. I mean, you got to come to the corner to meet success. And again, one thing which I really talk a lot about in sales, maybe we could expand on it. Like you just said, impossible. If you break it up, I am possible. I can make it possible. Impossible, we could cut it out. I think I read somewhere or listened to. The other thing which I really wanted to spell out, the beauty of mindset to love the no's as much as the yeses. Could you expand on that? A lot of time, our society nowadays is overnight success. I want to close everybody and everybody. It doesn't happen. We got to go through the no's to get to the yeses. Let's expand on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a firm believer. Okay. So I joined my wife's real estate firm a few years ago because of a little kind of a niche she was doing part-time. And when I saw it, I went, oh my God, this is like a gold mine. Yeah. And we could really help a lot of people get into homes because it's their opportunity. So we worked this lease with right to purchase program. The company that owns us right now is Blackstone. I'm sure you're aware of who they are.
Very nice company, by the way.
And she's the number one agent in the world for them. Now, in this particular small segment. Now, to get to where we were, I had to take a lot of phone calls. I had to take a lot of appointments. And the first thing I had to do is figure out what didn't work.
Yeah.
That's what Edison said. He goes, I never have a failure. I figured out 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yes.
Right? So that's mindset number one. It's never a no, it just means not yet.
Yes.
It means I'm not ready. It's not the right one. It's not the right time. Just keep going.
Yeah.
It's a building block. Most of us get defeated.
Totally.
Like, oh my God, they don't like me. No, it's not yet. Just keep going. So I had to take a lot of phone calls. And I swear, Vinney, I don't know, babe, it took me almost a year to really figure it all. I wouldn't, you never figure it all out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it took me hundreds and hundreds of phone calls to find out what didn't work.
Yeah.
Then it took me a while to find out which combination of things done right in the right order worked to get the people so excited they were frothing at the mouth and they wanted to know how to get it.
Yes.
And then I would say, well, that's the easy part, right? And well, can I do it through you? Sure. That's what you're hoping for, right?
Yeah.
Where can I get this? Oh, well, just so happens I can do that,
Yeah.
So, but everybody, like you said, you can't close everybody. And I think that's one of the mindsets that you got to have two mindsets going in.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got the right product, you've got the right service, you're the right person and you're the right company, you have a responsibility
Yes.
to the client to close them.
So true. Oh my
If
God.
it's the right thing to do. If it's the right thing to do. Why? In your case, in my case, as a financial advisor, if you don't close them, they could go down the road, meet an inferior person, an inferior advisor with an
Yes.
inferior product, inferior company, inferior customer service, and get an inferior result and possibly run out of money before their life ends.
So true. So
Right?
true. So true.
So, number one, if it's the right thing to do, you owe it. You have a fiduciary responsibility to make it easy for them to purchase from you. Now, conversely, if it's the wrong thing to do, you got to be upfront and say, hey, listen, Vinney, I think you're a great guy. I think I would love to work with you. I just don't know I'm the right guy right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who is, but I tell you what, I might have some people in mind. I might have some other companies in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you go there, get your feet wet, then I
Yes.
think be a little bit further down the road when you're up over that $100,000, $200,000 range. I think maybe we would be the perfect fit. Right now, it probably isn't the perfect fit. I don't know that our product covers the time range you're looking for, the kind of returns you're looking for. Might
Yes.
be, but I think someday we could have a great relationship and a good marriage. But I think right now is not the time.
I
You got
love
to be
it.
able to say that if it's the right thing to do.
I love it. I love it, Kelly. What you just said is you got to leave every prospect, I say, or suspective prospect to you're giving presentation, leave them as a better, well-educated, client, and leave them in the best possible positivity note so that they tell other people if they are not ready to buy or get involved in your business or my business, they'll tell 10 more people because what a nice guy so-and-so is. At this time, I couldn't take it. But also the other thing, Kelly, I've learned from Tom Hopkins and all, how to master the art of selling and sell anything, and a lot of other people like you have. But the big thing is I look at one prospect as 20 prospects in the back.
Correct.
So it's not just $1 million in the front, it's 20 million, 20 times. Huh?
Yeah. Well, Tommy was my first real mentor in sales other than Dale Carnegie.
Oh, really?
He was
Yes.
long gone. Yeah. So when I really started getting serious about sales and I was already into the lower double six figures, I went to a 6-day Tommy Hopkins boot camp. I think it was in Miami, Florida, where you had to memorize 64 closes. Now,
ooh, yes.
people badmouth Tommy.
Porcupine close. Remember?
Yep.
Tommy Hopkins taught me too, brother. Oh my God. I learned so much from him.
Yeah. And, but one of the things that people overlook about Tom, and Tom said this at the very beginning of that 6-day workshop, I'm going to teach you all the stuff. But if you don't do your job up front, you can memorize all the closes in the world. It won't do you any good. But if you do your job up front, if you ask the right questions, if you build the right mental picture, you don't need any of those.
Yeah.
Right? Those are safety nets. And so I've been on stage many times at large conventions, either as a speaker and or as a panelist.
Yep.
And I have a friend, Richard, from South Carolina. We were both always in the top of every financial service company we ever worked for. He always beat me. He was always like, but he's a great guy, runs a great business. And we'd be on stage with maybe a couple of other panelists, and agents would ask questions. Well, how do you overcome that? How do you overcome this objection? And they would throw something at us. Richard and I would just look at each other and go, Richard, when was the last time you had that freaking objection? He'd go, 10 years ago, maybe, before I figured out maybe I should handle that in my presentation. Handle it first before it ever comes up. And a lot of salespeople understand. Whatever industry you're in, whatever you're doing, you will normally have between 3 to 5 objections over 80% of the time.
Totally.
So I'm going to be very frank here. If you're an idiot, you just let it keep coming up and try to figure out a way to overcome it. Now, if you're intelligent and you don't like to beat your head against the wall, you might want to figure out a way to actually cover that problem in your presentation, maybe even bring it up first and say stuff like, when I'm talking to people and they're really intelligent and they're really sharp, they normally have 3 objectives. Let me run those by you. Run them by them and say,
handle them before they come up.
If you do that, and then you say, I always, even today when I'm talking to people, I'm always going to bring up some things that are good, and I'm saying, now there are a couple things that you should be aware of. We're not the perfect company, and I'll bring up a couple of really minor issues, and then I'll bring up, but those minor issues help us do this, by the way, which is actually to your benefit, right? And
look at.
It doesn't come up in the conversation.
I love it. I love it, Kelly. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, everybody watching us and listening to us, please share this episode with other people, because I know what we are discussing and Kelly Shaw is bringing so much value, so many great nuggets. This is going to be an epic. I'm telling you, I know my team is going to eat it up, because we're going to slice it and make reels and do the whole transcriptions and everything, Kelly. And we would love to also let you know when it goes out into the, all these channels, because
Absolutely.
that's what a great, this is a very powerful, I think people should go back and listen to it again, what we are discussing, because that is the crust of every business, the growth of the business, and how to deal with clients, how to deal with investors and everybody, how to have the right visualization and mindset, and how to take care of objections before they come up and build that trust. How can people reach you? How can people reach you? Yeah.
Well, I have a website, kingdomsalesacademy.com. And yes, I am in the kingdom. I'm a Christian. We kind of cater that way, but look, you don't have to be a Christian to take advantage of some basic Christian principles, which is serve first. There's a lot of religions around the world that believe in the same stuff.
Yes.
But if they just go to Kingdom Sales Academy, they can download my free ebook. Would love to do that. And I do wanted to share one more thing, though.
Please.
I was my wife and I were on a national speak off with Grant Cardone.
Oh, yeah.
We both made it to the top 40 out of 35,000 people applied, almost 4,000 people auditioned. We made it to the semifinals. And I was fortunate my wife made it to the top 30, and she's on the reels and all that stuff. But when I was in one of the rooms in a breakout, somebody asked me, is there any magic? If you were to teach one thing to somebody they could take away, what would it be?
Yeah.
And I said, well, there is a magic word in sales. And if you use this magic word, you'll build rapport. You'll know more about the client, more about their intentions, and know if it's the right thing to do. And that's the question, why?
Why?
So Vinney, I know you've come to me, you checked out our webpage.
Yes.
And I ask you, why? Why, after looking at our webpage, did you contact us? You're going to get an answer. Then you ask, so why now? Like, what was it about our webpage that got your attention? And I'm sure you've been thinking about this for a long time. In fact, you've told me you've looked at other syndication models for a long time. So why me and why now?
Beauty.
And you might ask, to do this, right, you've got to invest some sizable money.
Yeah.
And you've got to invest that money for a period of time.
Yes.
Why do you think this is the right product and the right timing for you and your family? So
amazing.
Most people don't ask enough questions.
Yes, sir. Totally.
And they don't figure out how to read between the lines. And then they may get an answer, not realizing they need to dig a little deeper.
Mhm.
Like when I was at a car dealership one time doing some training, a guy came in and said, salesman asked a really good question. Sir, what's the number one thing you're looking for in a new car today? He goes, well, I'm looking for a car that's safe. So the salesman went into a full-on freaking sales presentation about rumple zones and safety glass and airbag. And I went, hold on, hey guys, sorry, hey, my name's Kelly. I'm a consultant here for Nissan. I was doing training for Nissan at the time. And I said, I have a question to ask. You know, when you said safety, what did you mean by safety?
Yeah.
And he was going, well, my wife's a flight attendant. She lands at LAX airport sometimes at 11, 12 o'clock at night. And when she's driving home down that 405 freeway, you've got to go through some iffy parts of the country. And if the car breaks down, we got issues.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different story to talk about. Like if you got OnStar, boom. I mean, you see, it's the same ultimate benefit to the client.
Yeah.
Safety, but safety can be looked at from 100 different ways. And as salespeople, I want to know why. I want to know why now. Like people that sell health products. Hey, you've been on diets before. Why is now? Why did you get a hold of me? I mean, I'm sure you know a lot of other people. And what makes you think you can be successful now and why? Because it's failed for you in the past. Why do you think this will be better? Why do you think this will work? If I can teach your audience today one thing, ask questions and use the word why. It's magic. I'm telling you, it's magic.
It really is, sir. Oh my gosh. I want to go on and on to be very truthful because it's been such a wonderful.
I'll come back anytime, bro. Just give me a call.
No, this is so exciting. So exciting. I would like to again tell our viewers and listeners, please share this episode. Give us 5-star reviews. And give us written reviews too, because we want to bring the guests that can really add value to your life, to your business. This is Winnie Chopra signing off from Apartment Syndication Made Easy. Thank you again, for joining Winnie Chopra this week on this podcast. And please subscribe, share, give comments, and give 5-star rating if you can on iTunes, because that really helps a lot for us to bring great guests. And also iTunes raises our rankings up. And I hope you have been very happy with Winnie Chopra and team who are able to bring great information. If you would like to invest with us, please go ahead and go to winniechopra.com/invest. Thanks again. God bless you.